I really went through it reading this book. I did not like the main characters, and
I can move my toes, okay.
in today's video we are going to be talking about the books that I've read in the months of March and April. Grab yourself a cup of tea or a cup of coffee like I have right now. Hello you guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video we are going to be talking about the books that I've read in the months of March and April. Now we have like a significant number of books here. I have a feeling one or two might be from before then, but I'm basically just talking about the books I have read recently, and for the most part they're read in March and April. If they're read before that or after that, then please bear with me. I'm just a girl doing her bookish videos. So to start off with, if you're new here and you haven't seen me before, I would love for you to subscribe. You are always welcome here, no matter who you are. On this channel, we talk about all things books. I do reading vlogs, I do wrap-ups, I do TBR videos, I do all kinds of bookish content. So if you love that type of thing, then please subscribe. Now, before we get into the books and get started, grab yourself a cup of tea or a cup of coffee like I have right now. Get comfy and let's talk about the books that I read in March and April. Now, to start off with, we have Death of a Diplomat by Eliza Reid. This book was really good, and it was honestly a book I've never read before. I can't remember exactly what I've rated this. I think I rated it like a 4-star. It was pretty good, and I did really enjoy my time reading this. Like, I have a really fond memory of being about halfway through this book and really being submersed into the story. I really enjoyed it. The only downfall of this book is that there's 7 characters as far as I remember, and it's pretty hard to stay on track of all these 7 characters because they all have backstories and they're all connected to one another, and it can be just a lot going into this book, but it is a good book and I did really enjoy it. I do recommend having some sort of knowledge of politics and diplomacy when it comes to reading this book, because I don't know anything about politics. It's not something that I'm interested in, and I was a little bit lost going into this book, so I recommend that you have some kind of knowledge of politics and how government works. I don't, but knowing that would be a lot better going into this book. You would understand a lot more. So that's what I recommend for reading this book. It was very good and I did enjoy it. 4-star. Now we have The Other Passenger by Louise Candlish. I think I'm going to settle on this story as a 3.75. This was a good book, but I really went through it reading this book. I did not like the main characters, and going into this story and now knowing the ending, I definitely think that was the point. So you're following the main character of Jamie, and he is just not likable. He's not got his life together. He doesn't seem to care, and it can be really hard to root for him. So when it comes to the end of this book, it ends in a way that you're kind of happy with, and I don't really want to spoil anything going into for this book, but the characters just were not likable, and I definitely think that was the point. But because of how it ended, I'm giving it a 3.75. It was sitting at a 2-star, but I think this is going to be like a 3.75. It was very interesting, and I am glad I read it because I've learned a lot about writing and the types of perspectives that you could use in writing stories. So, by the way, I'm a writer in case you didn't know. Yeah, I am glad that I read this book. It definitely taught me something, and that's that. Now we have The Brumby by Mary Elwyn Patchett. This is a very sweet, light-hearted story, and I read this quite quickly. It's under 200 pages, and it's a very sweet story about a young boy who lives in the countryside in Australia with his dad, and there are wild horses that roam about the land called brumbies. That's what they call the wild horses. and it's a story about how he ends up acquiring a couple of these horses, looking after them, the story behind the horses, and it's just a really sweet time. I'd say this is probably like a 3.75 as well. It's nothing amazing, but it was a really sweet story and I did enjoy reading it. It was just something to cross off my TBR, so I'm glad I read that. Now we have Saving Six by Chloe Walsh. This book made me go through it. Like, this is a lot more gritty and grimy than the other books of Binding 13 and Keeping 13, in my opinion, because it talks about Joey's struggle with addiction, and that's a very raw topic, and I would definitely check the trigger warnings before going into this book, as it deals with a lot of gritty, difficult subjects. So because of that, again, this is probably sitting at like a 3.75 star for me. I think that's my final rating. It was a good story and I did enjoy it, but it took me, there were parts of it that I didn't enjoy. Like, I'm not the biggest fan of intimacy scenes, so you're probably thinking, why on earth are you reading Chloe Walsh then? I'm attached to the characters and I want to know how it all works out for them. And at the end of the day, I do want Joey and Aoife to get together, and I do want them to be happy together, and for Joey to have a place where he feels safe. Like, I want all of these things for the characters, so I keep reading the books. And I think Binding 13 and Keeping 13 are my favourite stories, my favourite books from Chloe Walsh. Like, I don't think anything will compare to those two, but this was definitely an interesting read and I did enjoy it for the most part, but I would definitely check trigger warnings before you read this. Now we have Our Mutual Friend. I didn't read this book. This was a DNF. I started listening to the audiobook and I was just lost going into this. I don't know anything about the characters or their story, and I literally know nothing. I DNF'd it pretty quickly going into this story, and I might pick it up again in the future. Like, it's kind of like a soft DNF, but yeah, it just didn't gel with me at the time, so DNFing this book. Just take a swig of my coffee. My alarm went off, so I stopped recording. Now we have The Secret Seven. This is just like a really easy childhood nostalgic read. I really enjoyed this book. It was so easy to get through, and it was just a really fun, cozy book to read, and I really enjoyed it. There's nothing you need to skip in these books. They're just wholesome, and it's following a little story about the Secret Seven and how they solve mysteries, and it's really fun. Like, I really do enjoy these types of books, and I wish I had more, but this is the only one that I've acquired secondhand. If I do come across more Secret Seven books, I might pick them up. So really like this. This is a really brilliant read. If you haven't read Secret Seven, then what are you doing? They're just brilliant fun books by Ewid Blyton, I think they're called. I'm not entirely sure. That's the name right there. I can't really read the handwriting. Yeah, it's a really great book. Really enjoyed that. And now I'm getting a numb leg from sitting on the floor. It's my own fault. And now we have another DNF. This is George, Don't Do That by Joyce Grenfell. This, I realised, was just a collection of short chapters of George doing things that aren't very interesting. This book just did not interest me in the slightest. I DNF'd this probably, like, how far in was I? I don't even know. I don't know how far in I was of this book, but it's a DNF. It was just not very interesting, and it was just, like I said, a collection of stories of George doing things he shouldn't do, but it was just like a rehash every time. Like, there wasn't necessarily anything surprisingly different about any of them. They could have changed going on into the story, but I got so far into it and I just thought, I'm not interested in reading this book, so I decided to DNF it. Now we're going to talk about my audiobooks I have read in the months of March and April. I have
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 books.
5 books here. So to start off with, we have Holly by Stephen King. This book was fantastic. This is like a 4-star for me. Like, I absolutely love this book. It was my first Stephen King book. I'm not a horror reader. Horror is not really my genre, but reading Holly by Stephen King was such a brilliant thriller. I really enjoyed it, and it has made me want to try more of Stephen King's books, and I'm thinking I might read 11, 23, 62 or something like that. I can't remember what the title of that book is called, but I might read that book because that looks really interesting. And if you have any other Stephen King recommendations of like thrillers that he's written, then leave them in the comments down below, because I would really love to read more of his thrillers, because Holly was such a enthralling, thrilling story, and I enjoyed every single second of it. I listened to it while I was on the treadmill, and I absolutely love the character of Holly and how she ends up solving these crimes, and it's just so brilliant. I absolutely love it. Now we have The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This story was not what I expected it to be in the slightest. I thought we were going into like an old money, well, it is old money, to be honest. It just wasn't what I was expecting romantically, but it was a very beautifully written story. I'd say I'd sit on this for like a 4-star. Like, it was a good story. Like, on reflection, I did really enjoy it, and I found the story to be quite heartbreaking, and it ended in a way that I did not expect, and it was very beautifully written. It did make me cry. I did really enjoy this book, and I do recommend you read it. I literally can't feel my leg at all right now. It's literally like a limb that's attached to my body.
But, I can move my toes, okay.
Now we have The Impossible Fortune by Richard Osman. I absolutely love Richard Osman's books. They are fantastic. This was a 5-star for me. I well and truly loved this story, and I love following Joyce and Elizabeth. They will always hold a special place in my heart, and I honestly think I might reread the Thursday Murder Club book series with Audible, because they're just so easy to get through and they're so comforting, especially if you live in the UK. If you live in the UK and you like mystery books, then absolutely pick up the Thursday Murder Club if you haven't already, because they are just such an easy book to read, and they're just so lovable, the characters, and I love them so much. I can't say, there's literally no criticism for Richard Osman, in my opinion. The way he's written the Thursday Murder Club books, they are just perfect in every single way, and I won't hear everyone talking crap about the Thursday Murder Club books, because they are absolutely brilliant. The Impossible Fortune was a very good book. To be entirely honest with you, I can't remember that much about the book, because it was like a little while ago that I read it, but I remembered I gave it 5-star, and I'm going to stick to that rating because Richard Osman deserves it. It's just absolutely fantastic. Now we have The Faraway Inn by Sarah Beth Durst. This is a new 5-star for me. I absolutely love this book. It was so cozy, and it was like a perfect cozy fantasy book in every way. I have no criticism for this book either. It was just brilliant, and I am tempted to pick up more of Sarah Beth Durst's writing, more of her books. So it was just brilliant. The only thing I didn't like was that the main character, Calissa, it is Calissa. I can't really remember, the name always trips me up. Like, at first I was calling her Clarissa, but it's not, it's Calissa. So I've never heard a name like that before. But anyway, Calissa keeps calling Jack adorable in like almost every time she talks about him. So that is a little bit annoying. But Overall, the story is great. There's lots of talks of making cake and cozy food and warm fires on like a rainy day. It's just absolutely perfect for cozy vibes. It is wonderful, and I absolutely recommend you pick up that book. And last but not least, we have another DNF, and that is Wuthering Heights. I started the audiobook of this and it was interesting, but I found it really hard to follow. So I think what I might do is pick up a physical book and read the physical book of Wuthering Heights, because I know that this book is well received and everybody really likes this book for the most part. So I'm thinking I might pick up the physical book and read that, because everyone talks so great about it. And I just would really like to understand that and to be a part of all of that. And it's supposed to be like a really moody, gothic, dark academia type of book, and that's what I love. So I'm thinking I will read this book eventually. It was like a soft DNF of mainly the audiobook, but I do want to read that book. And those are all the books that I read in the months of April and March. How many books do we have here?
Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
12. So that's not that bad. That's actually pretty good for me. That's like roughly 6 books a month, which is honestly like pretty good. So all in all, a very successful couple of reading months. I will probably do another wrap up in a couple months time, as I only read like 6 books a month. So to make it into like a full video, I kind of need like to talk about more books than that. So yeah, those are the books that I read in the months of April and March. I love reading so much. It's so wonderful. I have a reading vlog coming out very soon, so keep your eyes peeled for that. If you've made it this far into the video, please leave a sparkle emoji. Sparkles are everything. So I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye bye.